Welcome to another episode of Hey, I'm Just a Fan. And let's not waste any time, man. Out the gate, Gervonta Tank Davis versus Frank Martin. Woo! 13-month layoff for Tank. Frank Martin's a good fighter. But boy, oh boy, Tank got it done again. Put that man in the dirt, man. Right on his back. Knocked him out cold. I'm talking knocked the sonic coins out that man. Had him seeing stars, dog. Now, this is a pretty good card, actually. You actually had Benavidez on there also, and he was a co-main event. And to get into his fight real quick, he dominated. He probably won every single round. I think he was fighting at light heavyweight for the first time. And he looked good at that weight. But I don't know if he's carrying that same power that he carries, and I think he fought at 168 normally. Because every single round, he was hitting this guy with some power shots, some 5, 6 hit, 7 hit combos. And this dude was taking them. Like, he was eating every single shot. And I was very surprised that Benavidez didn't knock him out, to be honest with you. Like, it looked like by the third round, I was like, oh, he's knocking this dude out. This is not going the distance. But that power just didn't carry the same. Like, this dude ate every single shot. And I got to respect, I forgot his name, but you got to respect that he took all those. So it'll be interesting to see how Benavidez, when he's fighting at light heavyweight, the rest of those guys up there, bro, because if they taking shots like that, but they got more power, they going to probably hurt Benavidez. But great job to him. I would love to see him and Canelo. You know, I feel like that would be the Mexican passing of the torch, kind of like what Chavez did with De La Hoya. And so I would like to see that, but I don't know. After watching that fight and watching Benavidez at 168, I don't know if Canelo wants to fight a guy that active. Like, he's young, he's hungry. Canelo's on the tail end of his career, the twilight years, whatever you call it. And Benavidez is looking for blood. Like, he wants to kill. And that can be a real dangerous matchup for Canelo. But the thing is, it'll probably be the biggest money fight. I know everybody want to see Crawford and Canelo. I get that. I want to see that fight also. But from a money perspective, if Canelo fights Benavidez, there's probably not going to be a Latino on this planet Earth that's not going to watch that fight. That's going to be the biggest fight that we've seen in 5, maybe 10 years. Especially the way Canelo and Benavidez been fighting. Yeah, that's going to be electricity for every single round. Unless somebody get. I don't even see that fight going a distance, if I'm being honest. I think Benavidez takes a lot of risks, takes a lot of shots. He don't care. And it seemed like he don't get hurt. Like, we've seen Canelo hurt before. I haven't really seen Benavidez. I think he's been knocked down before, but he rarely gets hurt. So it'll be interesting to see if Canelo can be the one that do it again. But I would rather see that fight first before I see Crawford and Canelo, to be honest with you. That's just me personally. But man, Tank Davis, after that 13-month layoff, showed up and showed out, man. This whole fight, the fight ended in 8 rounds. And in all honesty, it's like we knew it wasn't going a distance. Like, let's be honest. I don't think anybody thought this fight was going to go all 12. Tank out the gate, went forward. The whole fight, he never was really on his back foot this whole fight. Now, Frank Martin was giving Gervonta some shots here and there. But from round 1, Tank never really respected Frank's power. You don't walk anybody down the way Tank did to Frank if you respect their power. If I'm being honest with you, Frank don't respect a lot of people's power. If you watch a lot of his fights, even though Rolly's probably the least technical fighter out of all these fighters that he's fought, he was like backing up against Rolly. He wasn't necessarily coming forward 24/7 against Rolly. Like, he was on his back foot a lot because he respected Rolly's power. Just that Rolly's technical skills are just beyond bad. In that fight, Gervonta's laughing. He's flinching at him, and Frank's kind of like jumping a little bit. He's like, oh, come on, man, you scared. Like, Gervonta knew he was scared from the get-go. And Frank was on the ropes way too much. It's like, if you watch any of the press conference for that fight, Frank said, yo, you can't fall asleep against Gervonta. You can't make a mistake against Gervonta. Like, I know that's easier said than done, but he did exactly what he said not to do. Oh, don't fall asleep. And he fell asleep, literally. And I boxed a little bit myself. I ain't never been in there and threw some real rounds together like that. But I'll be honest with you. I don't know what I would do if a fighter just keeps pressing me. He's stepping to me the whole fight. He's not respecting my power. that has to mess with your psyche as a boxer. And I personally think that's what was happening with Frank. Like, he was like, damn, this dude is not getting up off my ass this whole fight. He was pressing him and pressing him and pressing him. It was like, let me catch my breath, Black Dynamite. Like, Lord have mercy, can I get a breather? And in classic Tank fashion, he gave away the first like 4 rounds, maybe even 5 rounds. But round 8, actually like round 7, you saw Tank started to put it together. And then in round 8, that classic uppercut that he got, man. Uppercut, dazed him, left hook, put him to sleep. Ref didn't even finish making a count. He went over to the ropes to get ready to do his classic backflip. He knew it was over. He knew he wasn't getting up. And at the end of the fight, what I like to do is look to see if which boxer can look like they can still go to the club and pick up women. And to be honest with you, Frank Martin looked clean after the fight. He didn't really have a lot of bumps and bruises. Tank actually had a nice little red ribbon mark around his face. A little, probably going to swell up and bruise up the next day. I know he a little lighter skinned, but he looked like if he go to the club, I'm like, damn, you lost the fight? It going to look like he lost. If Frank wanted so he can go to the club and be dancing, be like, nah, I did good, girl. You didn't watch the fight? Nah, I didn't see it. I was doing my thing. You see your boy looking good still? So I want to know for y'all, would you rather win the fight but look like you lost the fight? Or would you rather lose the fight but look like you won the fight? I want to know in the comment section, all right? Just that's what I want to know. Because as a fan, I don't know, man. I'm not really a boxer. But if I could come out unscathed, even though I lost, I'd be like, I'm cool with this. I don't mind that. Now, it was a man-down promotion, which is Errol Spence. So he helped put the fight together. Frank Martin was his fighter. And if I'm being honest, from a fan's perspective, it looked like a payday for Frank Martin. It looked like Errol Spence was like, let me get my fighter paid. He ain't had no real big fights yet. He's considered a dog, but he hasn't been really battle tested. But if I can get him against the biggest fighter in boxing right now, besides Canelo, I can get my guy a big payday. This would be one of the biggest payday under man down promotions when Earl's not fighting. So that's what it looked like to me. Afterwards, him and Tank seem like they're pretty cool friends. So afterwards, immediately Tank went over to where Earl was and shook his hand and was like, they exchanged words, whatever it was. And you can tell it was no ill will between the two. There was no little trash talking earlier in the fights, but there's no real anger towards the two. When I saw that dap up, I was like, them boys got paid. That's what that was. A little friendly money. And at the end of the day, Frank Martin, this is easily his biggest payday. And here's the thing, it might be his biggest payday ever. Now, he did look a little weight drained and stuff before the fight, during weigh-ins and stuff like that. And that's the thing with these things. It's like Gervonta, he don't just fight a physical battle. He gonna fight a mental battle. He gonna put that rehydration clause in there. I think he had a rehydration clause where Frank couldn't rehydrate till like 3 p.m. the next day. You know how crazy that is for a boxer or any fighter? They have to wait till the next day and then 3 p.m. during the day to rehydrate. That's insane. And I know people might say, well, Tank's kind of using that to his advantage. That's what you're supposed to do. If you're the A side, you do whatever you want to do. You take advantage of every advantage. Ain't about to let Frank Martin come into this fight 150, 160 pounds. Tank's a small dude, 5'5". I know they call him Lord Tyson. He pack a hell of a punch. But he going to probably rehydrate to 140, 145 max, if that. So I get on his end being like, hey, man, when I fight these fighters, y'all ain't going to be able to rehydrate 30 pounds, 25 pounds, because some fighters can. When he fought Ryan Garcia, he had to have that rehydration clause in there. Ryan jumps back up in weight a lot. Like, I think he was around maybe 170, maybe 180 in that Devin Haney fight. Ryan is a big dude. Matter of fact, speaking of Ryan, after the fight, he came up to Tank and he had a Tank #1 fan t-shirt on, which is absolutely disrespectful because him and Frank Martin are actually stablemates. If I'm Frank Martin, man, I might feel a little bit away about that. But in the back of the shirt, it said, rematch me, bitch. And I respect Ryan. At the end of the day, a rematch versus Ryan and Tank would be huge numbers, number one, especially coming after, even though Ryan had a little issue with the little extra read on the ballot in his blood system. He still looked impressive against Devin Haney with the knockout. And I think a lot of people want to see that fight and that rematch because they know that Garcia was actually weight drained in that fight. So they'll be like, all right, we want to see that rematch. And that rematch will probably do some big numbers. It might do bigger numbers than the first one. So it'll be interesting to see if they would actually fight. But Ryan looked about 200 motherfucking pounds when he stepped in the ring with Gervonta talking about, hey, man, come on, rematch me. He looked huge. So Another rehydration clause, brother. Now it'll be interesting to see if Gervonta keeps fighting at this type of clip right here and keeps getting these type of knockouts, will his legacy trump Floyd's? Because I believe Gervonta is at 30 wins, 28 knockouts. That's an impressive resume. I think the last fighter he didn't stop was Pitbull Cruz. And you know everybody been scratching for a rematch between Pitbull and Gervonta. Actually, I want to see that too. I think that will honestly be the most challenging fight for Tank. Both small fighters. Tank couldn't get him out of there. I know he hurt his hand in that fight. People be like, nah, Pitbull actually won. That nigga didn't win. Pitbull did not win that fight, bro. He still got outclassed by Gervonta Davis on a bum hand. But I think that people think that he won that fight. So from a numbers perspective, you'll see a lot of people want to see that fight and be like, okay, this might be a close one. So Gervonta's got a 7-fight deal, I think, with Amazon Prime. So it'll be interesting to see who he picks to fight in there. And if he's fighting the Shakurs, if he's fighting, he gets in there and still fights Devin Haney, he fights Pitbull Cruz, and he rematches like a Ryan Garcia again, and he wins all those fights and knocks those guys out, or at least knocks the majority of them out. Do we now start to say, hey, is Gervonta TBE? And I think a lot of casual boxing fans will say so, because most casual fight fans want to see the knockout, right? They want to see excitement. Gervonta brings that. That's what Floyd was not bringing. He brought that early on in his career when he was Pretty Boy Floyd. But when he became Money May, he wasn't really knocking a whole bunch of guys out like that. Now, for me personally, I am a big fan of Money May. I love the sweet science of boxing. I love that Floyd was psychologically breaking down every fighter in the ring. Like I talked about Gervonta being in front of you, walking you down, and he walking you down for 8 rounds. But imagine somebody being like this close to you, right? Like not even a full 6 inches away from you, and he's hitting you, but you can't hit him. That has to mess with your psyche in boxing also. And to me, that's impressive. I actually love seeing that. I love seeing by the 7th and 8th round, a fighter's confidence. Looking at a fighter's eyes when he's fighting Floyd, by the time the 6th, 7th round or so, they're done. They're like, I'm not going to beat this guy. I got to just hang in here and just get this money at this point, because I can't hit this dude. I've thrown 80 shots. I've landed 6. And I'm not going to win now. And Floyd was accurate. Now, so was Gervonta, and that's the thing. I think a lot of casual fans will put Gervonta over Floyd because of the knockout ratio that he has. I think he has over a 90-something% knockout ratio. And it's exciting, man. Like, I tune in. I got to watch every single Tank fight. Just like I had to watch every single Floyd fight, I'm tuning in the same way. So I want to know from y'all, the fans, what do y'all think? Do y'all think Gervonta ends his career possibly the new TBE? I know him and Floyd are beefing, and I'll be real with you. When I see stuff like that between like dudes that were like friends, like when I see Gervonta and kind of Floyd kind of going at it, I don't know, man. I feel like that might have been a little bit of promo. It could be real. I'm not saying that it's not real, because I think they're saying that Leonard Ellaby is not with Mayweather Promotions anymore, but it does seem like it kind of helped promote the fight. The fight seemed like it was kind of going slow between Tank and Frank. And it seemed like, Floyd saying something like, hey, man, the fight's canceled. And people probably panicking and tripping. And then Gervonta having to jump in and save it was actually kind of smart business. I know people might have been like mad at Floyd, but from a perspective of like getting fans back hyped for it, it's honestly pretty good marketing. So I do wonder if Tank and Mayweather are actually friends on the low. This is part of just a strategy of, selling the fight. So the NBA Finals, man, have y'all been watching? Boston was sticking their Irish foot up the Mavericks' ass them first 3 games. They was beating them boys. It was showing Luka that like I always felt like, I think Luka's good. He's really good, but I always felt like he was just like, he had cement in his feet, man. I used to be like, yo, how is he getting by anybody? I know he's 6'7", 6'8", he's big as hell, but I'm just like, bro, y'all letting the slowest, he's slower than most centers, and y'all letting him get by you like this? And it's been showing in the series. They use him as a liability. It was like, all right, Kyrie got all-around game. He's not necessarily the best defender, but he ain't necessarily a weak defender either. They were like, Luka, he's slow, he don't play good defense, attack him. And that's what I saw. They kept attacking Luka, and then you saw, I think it was game 5. Luka gets fouled out, which I don't know if it was necessarily the best call, but I mean, they were attacking him. My mistake, that was game 4. And game 5, now we'll see if I think Boston too, because Boston got blown out in game 4. They lost by like 30-some points. They was getting blown out like the whole game. It was never really a game. But also, too, they were playing in Dallas in game 4. That was a closeout game. Do you really want to close out away? I think Boston wants to see Boston win at home. That wouldn't have been as satisfying if they won in Dallas, if you want to be honest. Boston pulled their starters, the third quarter? They didn't care about that game. They went in there with the mentality of like, if we win, we win. If we don't, who cares? We can come back in Boston and take this over. And that's what I think we're going to see, man. I think Boston's going to close it out. We never seen finals come back from 0-3. I know they won one game, the last game, but yeah, I don't think Dallas comes back and wins this series. I think it's over. I personally was going for Dallas. I wanted to see Kyrie get another ring and pretty much shove it to the NBA because I think the NBA kind of did him dirty in multiple capacities. So it would have been good to see if Kyrie and Luka actually got one. But I feel like that team's together, and they got a good squad over there, and they're going to probably be back to the finals. I don't see a lot of teams in the West really beating them like that. I don't like Boston as like a team, like the Boston Celtics. But I like Tatum, and I like Jaylen Brown a lot. Like, I'm a big fan of Jaylen Brown when he does on and off the court. Very, very intelligent dude. So in that, I like those two players, and I would like to see them get a ring. So for me, I think Boston wraps it up. Game 5, game over. Honestly, I think it's going to probably be a blowout. I think it's going to be a Game 5 blowout. They destroy them in Boston. Luka has to go back to the drawing board. I think he's going to come back, hopefully, next season and lose some weight so he can probably get a little bit quicker. But, yeah, man, I think Dallas will probably be back next year. I'm confident they'll be back in the West next year. I just don't see a team just beating them 7 games in the Western Conference. I don't. And speaking of Boston, Tom Brady is in the Hall of Fame. No questions asked. No anger from me. He gave an amazing and electrifying speech. I'm actually a fan of Brady. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I like the fieriness that Tom Brady has on the field, that he's kind of been having off the field, kind of having in some of these interviews, talking shit, being like, nah, man, that's some bull. Like, I like that he's cussing and being like, he's kind of in your face, like he's an asshole, it seems like. And I think you kind of need that from your superstars like that. Jordan was an asshole. Kobe was an asshole. Tom Brady's an asshole. These guys, like the superstars, are usually assholes. I'm sure Bron probably an asshole too. You know what I'm saying? But Tom Brady getting in the Hall of Fame makes perfect sense. I don't think anybody's going to dispute that. He's one of those players you hated to play against him. If your team was going against Tom Brady, you're like, oh, gosh, you're playing them in the Super Bowl, unless you're the Giants. Unless you're the Giants going against the Patriots and Tom Brady, you was like, easy work. But every other team was like, oh, shit, here we go. Because Brady was that quarterback that me and my friends always said, you got to shoot him in the head. That's the quarterback he is. You can't leave any time on the clock for him. Mahomes is that quarterback right now because I just experienced that as a San Francisco 49er. Like, you got to shoot Mahomes in the head. You got to get him up out of there or else your team's going to lose. So, fuck you, Mahomes. And I'm a fan, too. I like Mahomes. That's the thing. I like Mahomes, but he had to do my Niners dirty. But it was good to see Tom Brady give that speech and just showing the competitiveness. And I would like to see his transition now in broadcasting. I love when quarterbacks become broadcasters because the way they break down the offense and the defense, like, love or hate Tony Romo, I love when Romo's calling the game because he's breaking down. He'll tell you, like, oh, there we go, slant 65, neat up, that's what it is. Come, watch him do it. And then literally everything that Romo says, it ends up happening. When you have a guy that's cerebral with the game, I love seeing that. I also like watching Greg Olsen call the games, too. I like how he breaks down the game when he's watching it, too. But Brady's done. So is Belichick. He's going into broadcasting, it seems, too. We all thought it was a duo. We thought it was Belichick and Brady. People were saying legit Belichick and Brady, not Brady and Belichick. But it looks like it was Brady. It was more Brady than Belichick. And I fought that. In the group text with my friends, I fought that shit for a few years. Like, nah, dog, nope. I don't care that Brady won an extra one. I mean, all he got to do was get somebody else over there in the Patriots. He'll be good. And then he did. And then, yeah, nothing happened. Nothing happened for Belichick. And nobody wanted to hire him. I know people are going to say, well, maybe Belichick didn't want a job. Nah, I think Belichick has a set of rules and how he wants to run a team. And these teams are like, we're not about to let you essentially be the coach, the GM, and essentially like damn near an owner. The way you want to run this squad? Hell no. We got things in place already. We have a team in place. We're not about to watch you break down this whole team, have to redraft a whole new squad. Not happening, dog. So I'm actually interested to see how him and Brady call the games differently to get that legendary coach perspective, but also now get that legendary quarterback perspective, which is the greatest. I mean, I'm a Niner. Steve Young, Joe Montana, but Brady's the GOAT, man. Quarterback wise, people saying Aaron Rodgers. I like Aaron Rodgers too. I'm a big fan of Aaron Rodgers, actually. I wish he was a Niner. I wish we'd have drafted him. No disrespect to Alex Smith, but I kind of wanted that. You want the hometown kid. You wanted the Cal guy to play in the Bay. We have to be honest, dog. Rodgers is not Brady, man. Brady made a lot of okay receivers look really good at times, and they won Super Bowls. So we got to stop the cap, dog. Brady is a clear GOAT quarterback. It ain't Peyton Manning. It ain't Aaron Rodgers. It's neither one of them. It's the GOAT, Brady. Now I got to talk about this. Terrence Shannon Jr., he was an Illinois basketball player. He was charged of the R word, grape. I mean, we can't say it on a lot of different platforms because they will flag you immediately, but you know what it was. He's a young black basketball player who was doing his thing out there, and he ended up having some intercourse with a lady, and she ended up saying that she was essayed, and then the young man loses everything. Now, all for that if that was the actual truth. But a few days ago, he was found not guilty on all charges. Now, some text messages from that incident came out from the girl and her friend, and this is what it said. The friend said, OMG. Her best friend said, you got him? The alleged victim said, yup, yes, sir. And the friend said, got his ass, with 2 money face emojis. This was an absolute joke to them, to ruin this young man's life for a possible bag. Not thinking about this man's future, about his life, him possibly going to jail. I think he was facing like over 10 years plus in jail for a crime that he did not commit. All because you was trying to get some bread out of this dude. And I know this is a very sensitive subject, all right? A lot of women out there, when a woman gets, sexually assaulted, specifically like in this type of way, damn near all women jump on board. They don't ask any questions. They believe the woman. If she said it, it's 100% factual. And a lot of times you see a lot of men come out and be like, nah, we don't think so. And that's usually the battle online. And you have women being like, see, this is the problem. This is why we don't like to come forward. It's just like, in some instances, I understand that when you come forward, sometimes people don't believe you. Sometimes the police don't believe you. Your parents don't believe you. Y'all go to court and the kid ends up getting completely out of the charges, or they give the young kid a slap on the wrist. Now, I will say in those cases, it's usually a white kid, usually a white boy that gets the slap on the wrist and gets out of the charges. So I can see from y'all perspective being like, see, this has happened too many times on our end where nothing happens. So we're going to believe all cases at this point. But then from a lot of times the guy's perspective, there's a lot of men in jail. A lot of men just getting out of jail. A lot of men having their cases overturned 20, 30 years later when a kit comes out, essentially, a DNA kit comes out and it's like, yo, he didn't do it. That's why a lot of dudes are like, at least wait for the evidence. We're not going to say that he's guilty or not guilty, but come on, bro. Like, we're not going to sit there and say that this person did something because of previous incidents. Now, here's the crazy part. They did multiple DNA tests on this woman. They swabbed her booty hole, her vagina, and let me tell you something. They found like 5 other guys' semens. Multiple other guys' journeymans. Other guys' spillage. Other guys' smooges in and around this woman. But you know who they didn't find? Terrence's. The fact that you had 3 to 5 guys, because I'm not exactly sure how many dudes was it, but I think it's about 5 guys. No pun intended with the bar guys. But what kind of night were you having? To let 5 guys get up in the guts in a matter of, I don't know how many days, or maybe even the same night. That is absolutely insane. On top of that, you letting all them guys go raw? And then let me just say allegedly, because you know how I don't want to get caught up in any mess. So let me just say allegedly with all the things that I'm saying. But damn, you got to be a nice little lady of the streets to let 5 different guys allegedly bust off in your area. That's absolutely insane. Now, Terrence is a young black man, like I said earlier, and this young lady, the victim, is of the Caucasus Mountains. That's right. She is the color of most paper towels. She is the color of toilet paper. As Dr. Umar would say, she's a snow bunny. Brothers, especially if you got that bread, you in entertainment, you a ball player, anything like that, you got a lot of money. I'm going to go ahead and say it. You got to be careful with these white girls, man. I know some of y'all love them. They be nasty and freaky, clearly having 5 different guys, Siemens in them, probably having orgies and stuff with you and all type of stuff. But understand, they give 0 cares about a black man's life. A lot of them, not all, a lot of them, though, are built to destroy us. All I needed to read about and hear about was the Emmett Till situation. I didn't need to see nothing else. White women are the only people that make me nervous. I ain't afraid of no white man. I ain't afraid of no gangbangers. You put a white woman near me, let me tell you something. My hands are in plain sight. They're right here. I don't want no problems. I haven't even messed with that many white women before because of that particular fear. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm so afraid of white women, I don't even masturbate to white women in porn. That's right. If I click on one of them interracial adult films, I just watch. Oh, she putting in some good work. She got the clappers. Okay, all right. You know what? Let me take that back. I got off a few good sessions with Gianna Michaels. She was an absolute monster. I'll be real with you. I actually met her one time when I worked at Home Depot. She walked in there. I was like, she looked a lot better in person too, which was incredible. Low key, a lot of the porn stars have been looking better with age when I see them in person. Like when I see them like in pictures and stuff like that, but like, oh, they look cool. But I've seen multiple porn stars in person, like at comedy shows. A lot of them are like, they look better than they were when they were performing. So Gianna Michaels got a few sessions out of me. A lot, actually. Sarah Vandalay also. Annabella Danger. Some people say she's Latina, but she's kind of like white passing. So I put her in, you know, both categories. Let's give her Latina so it's 22 white girls. But yeah, going forward, honestly, black dudes, vet a lot of these Caucasian women, man. You have to be careful. We saw what happened in the Jonathan Majors incident. These women do not care to make you do time. Now, the messed up part about all this is that he's found now guilty, but this young lady is probably not going to do any type of time. And I think in cases like this, she should do the time that he was about to get. At some point in time, during one of these false accusation cases, they're going to have to make an example out of the person falsely accusing. You're going to have to give them time. Now, I know there's going to be probably some people out there that say, hey, we don't know about that because now that might scare some actual cases from women wanting to come forward. I understand, man, but there has to be some fear put into the women that are falsely accusing people. They have to know, like, look, there's consequences for your actions. You can't just do this. And low key, the women that actually have been through these things or know women that have been through these things, y'all got to go after some of these girls too. Like, yo, y'all, this is not a game to us. People's lives have been actually destroyed by these things actually happening, and they're never the same. Mentally, physically, all that. And you over here playing like it's a joke. So yeah, man, I don't know what's going to happen with that girl, but in all honesty, I hope she gets time. Because even though this young man is not found guilty, I'm sure this case alone took a toll on this young man. He's probably mentally damaged for this for life. Going forward, who do you trust, right? When you go out there and you start dating again, how do you trust somebody? I'm not saying that he's going to never trust anybody, but as an athlete that, you know, can get NIL deals and now make millions of dollars, how do you trust somebody that's not going to even want you for your money going forward or that's not going to do this again? I tell you one thing, stop with the whites. Now, Father's Day just passed, and let's be honest. Fathers are not respected, dog. Now, I will say this. I don't know if my algorithms changed on the internet, but I didn't see a lot of Happy Father's Day to me, even though I'm a single mother, I'm also the father. Yeah, you ain't getting no more props for that, all right? I ain't liking no woman's post that's saying Happy Father's Day to herself. Not happening. You're not getting a comment from me, nothing. Besides jokingly, I've never seen a guy that's a single father put up a post on Mother's Day say, Happy Mother's Day to me because I'm a single father raising my children and I'm also the mother. Women would rip those guys to shreds. Matter of fact, they have, even though those guys were jokingly saying it. They legit went in there like, how dare you try to take our day? We'll never have anything. Low key, you have it every day. Every holiday belongs to you. It caters to women. Shoot, even a man's birthday a lot of times is a woman's thing. She tries to take you to her favorite restaurant. And don't sit here and try to ask you like, well, Keenan, oh, are you a father? Nope. I'm not. But I got one. So I celebrated Father's Day before. And I want to give a shout out to my dad, actually, man. Happy Father's Day to my pops. My dad was a single father. I never looked at him like he was also like a mom to us. You know why? Because as a man, he can't. There's a certain type of nurture that a woman has, especially when she gave birth to you, that a father usually doesn't have. And there's just other things that when a man is in your life and a woman is in your life, the type of balance you might have, especially if they're good parents, specifically if they're good parents, you're raised with a different type of balance. When a single mother is raising children by herself, no man is present. I'm talking about no stepdad, no real dad, no grandfather, no uncle, nothing. No coaches, nothing like that. Those children are missing things. And you know I'm right because you dated a single mother's child before. Whether you're a man dating a woman or a woman that dated a man that was raised by a single mother. You know that's like, oh, he missing his daddy. Something's off about him. There's some man qualities that he don't have. Shoot, I'm sure some of the women that were dating me was like, you missing your mom in your life, boy. I could tell. Something about you're just missing a little something that if you had your mother, you wouldn't be this way. Here's the thing. I didn't fight you on it. I knew I was. And children, stop giving your fathers crappy presents. I'm going to give dad some socks. Let's get dad a tie. Yo, I'm telling you, why are we so lazy when it comes to Father's Day presents or presents for fathers in general? It's the same stuff. Ties, shirts, socks. It's the same thing over and over. We're so thoughtful when it comes to our mother. Oh, mom said she likes this type of thing over here. Let's go get it for her. Let's put all our money together and get her this type of big item. Let's send mom on a nice vacation. We don't do any of that stuff for our fathers. And we should, especially if they're in our lives and active. I want to know for y'all, what's the worst present you ever gave your father? My dad liked to fix on cars, so we used to give my dad tools all the time. And I'm sure we bought him multiple wrenches that he already had. My dad wears a lot more suits and ties now, but back then, I think we got him a tie before. He wasn't wearing no ties back when we were kids. My dad was a Marine. He either wore his military stuff or he was wearing regular clothes. And the regular clothes were military versions of the regular clothes. Now, I also want to know from y'all, what's the best present you ever gotten your father? Now that I'm older and I think about it, the best present my brother and I ever got our father was alone time. That's right. Not just time. Time alone for himself. And if I'm being 100% real with you, we didn't necessarily give it to him. He took it. Father's Day is always on Sundays. I remember one time we were like, all right, Sunday, Dad, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go to this particular restaurant. He was like, I don't want to go there. He was like, well, that's where we want to take you. He was like, why am I not going to the restaurant that I want to go to for my birthday? He was like, well, where you want to go? I want to go to BJ's. I'm like, Dad, that's not necessarily a Father's Day restaurant. We can take you something nicer and fancier. Nigga, if I want BJ's, it's my day. Why you fighting me on my day? Matter of fact, we ain't going out on Sunday no more. We going out on Saturday. Sunday, I'm going to watch TV. That's what I'm going to do. We was like, but Dad, Father's Day is on Sunday. He's like, I know. So I'm going to do what the hell I want to do on my day. Sunday, I'm going to watch TV. Saturday, y'all going to take me to BJ's. And that's exactly what we did. And on Sunday, he watched TV. Like, he literally watched TV. Like, he didn't even cut it on. He just stared at the blank TV screen, nothing on TV, and just looked at it and was just like, I'm doing what I want to do. And then I remember being like, what's wrong with him? And then a few years later, we talked about it, and I was just like, I kind of get it now. You know, he's been a father for so long. He's married. He's just like, yo, I want a day to do nothing. I don't want to have to celebrate anything. I want just time to do nothing at all. I don't want to have to think about y'all. I don't have to think about my wife. I don't have to think about anything. I want to shut my brain off and stare into the abyss. Stare into the life I wish I had without y'all. Like, if y'all would never hear the good life I would have had. So shout out to all the fathers out there, man. I hope you get the greatest gift ever. And that's most likely going to be time alone. Some cases, it might even be time with your family. I don't know. But yes, let me know in the comment section what was the greatest gift you've gotten your father for Father's Day. So the Baseball Negro League is finally being recognized by the MLB. Following the 2020 announcement that 7 different Negro Leagues from 1920 to 1948 will be recognized as Major League. The Negro League Statistic Review Committee is absorbing the available Negro League stats into the MLB. One of the players, Gibson, the legendary catcher and power hitter who played for the Homestead Grays and Pittsburgh Crawfords, is now MLB's all-time leading in batting average, also slugging percentage and OPS. and holds the all-time single-season record in each of those categories. Gibson is one of more than 2,300 Negro League players, including 3 living players who played in the 1920 to 1948 era in Bill Greason, Ron Teasley, and, of course, Hall of Famer Willie Mays. Their stats will now be integrated in the MLB. So that's absolutely amazing. It took hella long. Well, we're here now, and put some respect on a Negro League's name. I want to talk about procrastination, man. I don't know about y'all, but procrastination, it has a hold on me. I don't know what it is, man, but procrastination feels so good. It feels like some good, gushy intercourse. Like, legit, when I procrastinate, I be like, ugh. Like, low key, and I know it's terrible for me. But when I procrastinated, man, it feels like that first insertion. It's just like, yeah, my eyes roll back. I sit there and I click on YouTube and I just start watching videos. I'm supposed to be editing. I'm supposed to be filming. I'm supposed to be writing. Like, I'm somebody that doesn't do drugs like that, okay? I've never smoked weed a day in my life. I've never done any cocaine, crack, none of that type of stuff. Done edibles a few times, but to be honest with you, I don't even like doing edibles like that because I don't like being attached to something where I feel like I have to do something. Like, I was taking edibles, to sleep good sometimes because sometimes I was having trouble sleeping. And for me, I never want to be attached to something so much that I feel like I need to do it to get something done. Whether it's, I know friends that smoke and they feel like they have to smoke to be creative. I never wanted to be locked down on something like that. So that's why I don't even like taking edibles like that. I rarely ever take them. I rarely ever drink also. But I feel like procrastination is my drug. Like, every single day, I do a line of procrastination. Just, I probably do want to a line of procrastination every hour, if I'm being honest. But that's my thing. Why does procrastination feel so good? Like, not accomplishing something for the day that you set out to accomplish feels good. It should feel the opposite. It should feel terrible. I got audiobooks on procrastination. I've broken it, then went back to it. I'm addicted to procrastination, and I've been trying to break the habit for decades at this point. I need to go to Procrastinators Anonymous if they had that. That's a real thing. I would actually go if it was free, and if I don't procrastinate on getting there. That's probably what's going to end up happening. I'm going to end up procrastinating and not getting there on time. Just being like, I'll do it next time. But if you have any advice for somebody that procrastinates, shoot, put it in the comment section. Let me know. Hit me up on all my socials. Keenan Baker, Keenan Baker. That's how you follow the Hey, I'm Just a Fan podcast on YouTube. It's on the Keenan Baker Comedian YouTube channel if you want to watch it on video. And if you want to listen to all these episodes, they're on all your Apple platforms, your Spotify, all that type of stuff. But let me know if you have any real strong advice to stop procrastinating. Shoot, this episode today, I procrastinated. I was supposed to film and record this earlier. It's like 12:30 in the morning right now. I was supposed to do this around 6 p.m. So yeah, man, that's about it. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Hey, I'm Just a Fan podcast. And yeah, man, follow all my socials, Keenan Baker Comedian on everything. Follow me, hit me up. Thank you for tuning in, man. Peace.